I've got a real craving for some oatmeal cookies, so I'm back. I was pretty sick there for a week, bedridden. I've still got a cough, but I'm getting better. And I've got a real craving for some oatmeal cookies, so I thought, why not just show you guys how I make my oatmeal cookies. This recipe is from an old Legion cookbook I've had for probably, oh gosh, 30 years now. I've had this, 25, 30 years now I've had this Legion cookbook. And the recipe, I've kind of tweaked it a little bit to suit myself. And so here, I'm going to show you how I make it. I use a half a cup of shortening. Butter, shortening, whatever you want. The recipe calls for shortening. I use butter. And then a half a cup of brown sugar. Oops. That's not going to fit, so I have to do this. And I always use a little extra, always, of brown sugar. Now here's where it gets tricky. It does not call for maple syrup, but I always just add a little bit of maple syrup of my own in there. I don't know, I just like how the cookies turn out better. And I think we call for a half a cup of regular white sugar. So we're going to also add half a cup of white sugar. Alright. And then we're going to add an egg. Tablespoon of water. I'll put the recipe too down below. I'll put both. I'll put my recipe and then I'll put the original recipe if you guys want that. And then a half a teaspoon of vanilla. You can use any kind of vanilla. If I had real vanilla bean, I'd use it, but half a teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. 3/4 cup of flour. Okay. 3/4 cup of flour. And then we do a half a teaspoon of baking soda. I've got a real craving for these. And we've got a half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. And 1.5 cups of rolled oats. I'm using these big, they're all I have, the sprouted, the gluten-free sprouted rolled oats from Costco. And I don't have the quick oats, so this is what I'm using. And this, sometimes when I make this recipe, when I bake them, they kind of flatten right out and get real, almost like a toffee. And last time I made it, that's what happened. Here we go, that's it. I'm gonna whip all these ingredients together. The oven is on at 375. Scrape these from the sides because, like I've said in my past videos, sometimes this KitchenAid doesn't like to get to the very bottom, so, but it did. It did an awesome job actually, so. And yes, I did wash my hands before I started any of this. Truthfully, I'm the only one that's going to be eating these. That is done, and the oven timer just went off, so it's also ready. So now I'm just going to drop, if I can use a cookie, no, I'll just use a spoon. I'm just going to drop my cookie batter. I don't know how this is going to turn out, guys. Like I said, this might, because the oats need time to soak in, it might come out. I might have to add flour to the, I've left the flour out because I might have to add flour to this batch, just to kind of thicken them up a little bit, but we'll see. And in the oven, these are gonna go probably about 15 minutes. Okay. I just peeked, and I'm going to need more flour. Mix them up like this by hand. So I would suggest for the 3/4 cup of flour to do 1.5 cups of flour. The reason I do my cookies this way, guys, my oatmeal cookies, is I do not usually like oatmeal cookies. I always find them too dry, too hard. So I always like to make them on the softer, chewier side. And I've never found a recipe, out of all the recipes I've tried, I've never found a recipe that gives me the soft chewiness that I want. So I kind of have to improvise and figure it out for myself. Cup of tea. So I'm going to show you how I like my cookies. Just like that. Chewy and gooey. Let me see if I can get this a little bit better for you. That's the cookies, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching me make them. I'm going to have my cup of tea and enjoy my oatmeal cookies. Have a good evening, day, afternoon, wherever you are.